What's up, everybody? I'm making this short video. Hopefully it's short if I don't ramble. Um, about Manga Studio X5. It's a really cool program. I used to use Manga Studio 4 for my webcomics, and I used it mostly for inking, and then I would color in Photoshop, and they have vastly improved the color in Manga Studio X5. Um, I believe there is a free version, which is kind of a watered down version, and then there is the regular Manga Studio 5 and Manga Studio X5. X5 is only $209, I think, right now. It's not that expensive. It's actually really well priced. Um, and it's just really awesome. So, first I'm going to show you guys the inking for this program. In Manga Studio, the thing I liked about the original, or not the original, Manga Studio 4, is they had line correction that would help you auto-correct lines, so that when you're drawing a really ugly line, it'll smooth it out for you a little bit, kind of like Flash does. And in this version, we have stabilization down here, which is the same thing. And then we also have post-correction, and the post-correction is it'll correct a line after you've drawn it. I usually keep the stabilization. This has a numerical value right there, but I usually keep it maybe about there at 6. And turn post correction off. And see, that works pretty well. I mean, it gives pretty smooth lines. You can also go down here to that little wrench, and you have more control over it. Correction right there. You can turn post correction off. Adjust by speed, which is the faster you draw the line, the more correction you get. The slower you draw it, the less correction you get. And I've actually done it this way before that worked out pretty well. The Bezier curve, I don't even know how to say that. If set off, line becomes a spline curve, otherwise quadratic Bezier curve after correction. It says it's similar to the one in Manga Studio 4 and Illustration Studio. So, I set those settings real quick, and let's see. It looks like that's going to be pretty good. Now, when you have the stabilization really high up, all the way up here, I notice on my computer at least, it tends to lag. There's a delay on, your pen on the tablet to what's happening on the screen, and I don't like that, but the way that I've got it set up right now, it's actually pretty well set up. So I'm gonna just do a real quick sketch. No, the shadow's face, I guess. Let's do that. So, alright, I'm gonna turn that down. This is also how I pretty much do all my comics. Actually have, yeah, that's what I thought. I'm just going to leave this setting like that. So see, I could tell that the post correction was all the way up because there was some lag on my drawing. But yeah, even with the all that correction, everything turned off, and just I set the stabilization in the middle. It works really well. I was always focusing, or relying on the stabilization for Manga Studios to make my lines smoother, but I think over time I have gotten better at doing it myself. So, let's see, let's bring that down. Alright, now we're going to the inking. Let's see. I'm going to bring the thickness of my line up a little bit so I can get some nice thicker lines. But yeah, this is with the middle corrections and the middle stabilization. And I think the lines look really smooth and awesome. Sorry I'm being quiet, but I'm just drawing this thing out. But I have about 8 gig of RAM in this computer. Just so you know how much it is, and it's kind of, there's a little bit, the more stabilization you put on there, the slower the response is when you're drawing. It's a little bit more sluggish, but I can deal with that. So I'm going to make a new layer and use the fill tool. I've got close gap all the way up so that I could, I don't have to worry about making sure my lines are perfect. Let me pick a skin color real quick. That should be good enough. Cool. It looks a little bit dark. Whoops, that's not gonna work. Yeah, come on. Bear with me, I'm just learning my way around this program, but I just wanted to show you guys some of the cool stuff. There we go. Alright. Wait, let me get his eyes real quick. Yeah, the fill tool works, like you would expect. Actually, that one's supposed to be green. This one's supposed to be blue. So, now, all of that's pretty much relatively the same, I guess. I never really messed with coloring in Manga Studio just because I kind of messed with it once and it just didn't really work very well. To me, I didn't like it. But now they have changed it up a bit. I'm using the brush tool and it has the opacity watercolor. That tool is pretty awesome. So I'm going to pick the skin color, shadow's face, bring it down a bit, just make it not as yellow or orangey looking. Let's go with that. Okay, so the thing that I really like about this is the harder you press down, the darker the color is going to be, or the more true to the color that you chose. If you let up a little bit and you do it lightly, it's going to give you a lot lighter of that color, and there's everything in between. So you can go in and, add the color to it, and it's not going to give you this like solid tone, which I really like for my style, not with my webcomic, but when I'm coloring other people's, art and stuff like that. I like to have that painty look to it. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this in real quick. And then I'll show you the blending, which is what really sold me on, this new program and how awesome it is. It's what makes me think that this is such a better version of 4 than 4, I guess I should say. Alright. So the cool thing about the watercolor brush is you could actually just go in here and start blending with the brush itself. And the way that I'm doing this right now is just by lightly tapping, not putting a lot of pressure on it when I'm blending at that point. And then where I want the darker colors, more prominent shadows and everything, I press harder. So I think that's really awesome because it works as a blend tool and as the brush in the same single tool, which makes it a lot simpler than the way that you would have to do it before. And yeah, I feel like this is gonna probably make a lot of people better colorists and make me not as important anymore, but just kidding. I'm funny. I know. I'm sorry, I'm super tired, so please forgive my stupidity. Anyway, so yeah, this is just that one freaking brush, and it's doing all of this. So I fucking love it. I'm sorry. Please excuse my language, but I love it. I think it's really amazing. It's really convenient. It's very catered to artists, in the sense that they made this tool work like this. And it doesn't necessarily look like watercolor per se, it looks like that painty kind of style, and it gives you a really easy way to mix, the colors together. And then let's go ahead and add some highlight to the other side of his face. Oh, hold on, let me finish this real quick. I don't feel necessary to talk this whole time, so I'll be quiet at some point. It's probably just going to color his skin, but I just wanted to show you guys not only how well this works, but also how fast I'm doing it. I mean, you know, this is pretty... I didn't select that. This is coming out pretty well for, you know, how fast I'm doing it. Well, it's not even that light. Let's go a little bit lighter on that. There we go. So see how I can press down hard and add the where I want it to really be light at, and then kind of go from there. Yeah, one of the things I really like about it is when you tend to use other, you know, ways of blending and everything, sometimes you can get really flat colors at certain spots, and this makes it so that your colors don't ever look like a single tone, especially when, you know, it's something that you don't want when you're trying to go for that paintery style. You want to look like you actually sat there and put all these different tones of you know, shades of whatever color you're going for in there, and this actually helps to do that without, you know, you really having to do too much. Then I'm going to go ahead and add the backlight. This is also a little coloring tutorial for you real quick. Always add a secondary source of light. It makes everything you do pop like crazy awesome. So if you're not much of a colorist or something like that and you're just getting into it, take heed. It really, really just makes stuff stand out. So the whole time I've been doing this, like I said, I'm using the exact same brush. I haven't changed brushes at all. I will show you guys the blender brush real quick, or the blender tool real quick, just to show it to you, but for the most part you don't even need it. Oops. Trying to make this as fast as possible so you're not completely bored. You know, the ease at which I can do this now is making me seriously consider, you know, doing all of my comics with this kind of shading and coloring on it and everything, just because it's so simple. I probably won't, because, you know, still going to take more time than it usually does to make a comic, but maybe. But okay, and now I posted, if you guys are friends with me on Facebook, you can see that I posted this picture of a painty faced shadow earlier this week, and this looks just as good, if not better, than the one I did before, and I did it a lot faster. Now, if you like the way this blendiness looks, but you want it to be a little bit more blended, because I know, you know, you can see the strokes and everything, which I really like. I think that it looks cool. But if you would rather have it a lot smoother, you can go down here to the blend tool, and the blend tool it works just like that tool that I was just using, but it blends everything, and you can change the amount, the hardness and everything, the brush density. But yeah, say you want this to be a little bit smoother, and you can just go in there and do that, and boom. I mean, it looks awesome. Oh, sorry. Oops. Ah, son of a bitch. Alright, there we go. But it works in the same way as you know, kind of pushing the colors around a little bit as well as blending them. So, you know, you can move your colors around a little bit to fill areas that you missed and that kind of thing. And of course you can change that. So, yep. Just wanted to show you guys that. Looks pretty awesome. I did that all in 15 minutes. In about 15 minutes I made this, so it's super simple. It's really good, and it makes, for me, it makes Photoshop entirely useless to me now because I can use Manga Studio for everything. So I think that that's awesome. You should definitely get it if you have the money. There's a free version, like I said, and that one works pretty well too. I got that to try it out before I bought it. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys get it. I hope you guys enjoy it. And sorry if this was boring. But you decided to watch it, so F off. Don't F off. I'm kidding. Please. Bye.